Hey, how's it going, guys? We are back with another review video, and today we're going to be reviewing the TalonGames Nagisa Glass Mousepad, which is this one you see right here in front of you. Now I wasn't quite sure of the name. You know, when I originally got it. The reason why is because on their site it says that it's called the Nagisa Nagisa Glass Mousepad, which is this one right here, obviously. But at the bottom, which is right here at the corner, it says Astra Hicks, which I'm guessing this is the name of the artist that they collabed with to make this. Let's see. Basically, to start it off, you know, obviously I ordered it. I ordered it through Amazon, by the way. This is how it came in the mail. It shows you a picture of the artwork, which says art by Astra Hicks. This is 420 by or 490 by 420 with 2 millimeters. You know, I'm assuming XL mouse pad. And like I said, the brand is TalonGames. It says made with AGC glass. I'm not quite sure what that means. I haven't seen any other mousepad company have that on there. This is premium glass mousepad. This is their Ultra pad, which if I'm not mistaken, they also have two other pads, which is a plain white one that's basically the same size as this one. It just says TalonGames Ultra pad right here. And then they have a solid black one that says literally the same way it says it right here. It just says Ultra pad at the very bottom in big letters like this. Now I wanted to go with this one just because I really like the artwork, and there are actually two glass mouse pads they have currently that are with, I guess, collabs with artists like this one. Like I said, this artist's name is Astra Hicks. If you want to check her out, him, her out, I'm not sure. But anyways, so it came like this inside, and you have to flip it over. Sorry about the noise. You have to flip it over, and the stickers that hold it in place are right here, which basically you have three. You have one on this far end here, one on the opposite far end right here, and then you have one in the middle. And now once you undo those, let's see. There we go. Once you undo those, the pad comes in something shaped like this. Sorry about the noise. Right? And then you remove this, and it has, a kind of, foam protector on top, which I just took off, a foam protector on the bottom. Now right here in this part right here, when you buy this mouse pad, it does come with these skates on here, stickers, and as well as a cloth, which I think is really cool. I love when companies do that, when they add that little extra, like thanks for buying type of thing. And I honestly say the reason I haven't opened these yet, which is the reason why I haven't opened them, is because I haven't been able to tell the difference. And the reason what I mean by that is that, if I'm not mistaken, TalonGames has three different types of dot skates. They have ones that are like this, which are white, which I'm assuming are the speed ones. Ones that are like a light brown, which I'm assuming are like the control ones, or maybe like, I guess, balanced. And then they also have a solid black skate, which is I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's like UMPH, something like that, which is like control basically. And now I don't want to open these until I'm able to try the third one, which I did order some, so I'm just waiting for it to get here. But yeah, I think it's cool. You get these sets of skates, which they come with 24 skates of the light brown, 24 skates of the white. And like I said, I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, the whites are the speed and the light browns are the balanced. So I'm just waiting to get the control ones, which the control ones are all black. And then you get the stickers that are on here, and then you get the white cloth in the back. Let me go ahead and open it. I don't know. I'm just telling you guys this. So that. This. It even says TalonGames on it, which I think is pretty cool, if you guys can see that. It's just a small little cloth. To be honest, usually the same thing with the wall hack when they send stuff like this. I usually don't use it. I just keep it in the packaging because I usually use my arm sleeve to just kind of like this, and then I just wipe it down, which, it's no issue. One thing I do also do, and that I recommend doing, is that when glass mouse pads come like this, straight from like a factory or however they get made, I always wash them with a little bit of soap and water beforehand in case they have some type of like residue on them, or like some type of coating or something, like something that could easily wash off, so I can get that off and get an actual feel of the pad once it's clean. Alright, so I'm moving these out of the way. Like I said, it comes in that package right there. Okay, you're getting this out of the way. So let's see. Okay, so the top of the mouse pad, before we get to that, let me talk about the bottom. The bottom, I will admit, isn't terrible, but it's also not the best either. So moving this over, we'll flip it. And looking at the bottom, it's kind of like, it feels like a very basic rubber material. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me move it in closer if I can. See, if you can see like the octagon shapes on there, it's like a real basic like rubber material. Like it's nothing, it's not gonna like, let me just show you. I don't know why I keep telling you guys instead of showing you, but so when I have it on the desk right here, you know, I'll put my full hand on it and I'll try to push and pull even from up here. It will not move. So it has pretty good grip for it just being straight up rubber. I will admit that. But I was hoping more that it would be towards more like a wall hack or a super glide where it would have that silicone base on it, but it doesn't. And to be honest, I was disappointed at first, but once I noticed that it did actually, you know, grip and it wouldn't move and stuff like that, I was like, okay, then I have nothing to gripe about. Then this thing is perfect. Now let's get to the top of the pad. The top of the pad, if I could be honest, it feels more like a balanced pad in my opinion. But the thing is though, is that it doesn't feel like a balanced pad too much, if that makes sense. Like, if I had to compare this to a mouse pad or a glass pad that I actually own, the closest thing I have to a balanced or like control type of glass pad would be the Superglide V1. And that one isn't too fast, you know, it isn't too slow. So it's like, you know, it's a little bit, you know, obviously the faster mouse pad that I have would be the wall hack SP4. And now when I tested this one, I used the VGN Dragonfly, which with stock skates, and it seems to do fine. Like it doesn't go too crazy. Like it doesn't slide fast. Obviously, if I put more into it, it's gonna, you know, take off more. But you know, it did okay. You know what I mean? I used this on here, and then another thing I did was on my my VXC. I used dot skates, which obviously it went a little better. So obviously it depends on the skates you have, which, you know, depends on what you're looking for. If you want something more controlled, more speed, you know, more balance, that type of thing. And then another thing I did was with my Razer mouse right here. I came with stock skates, my V3 Pro, and I used that, and you know, it glides pretty good. Obviously the dot skates are going to be faster, and then obviously per usual, less skates means, you know, less friction. So I still think it did well, even with, you know, the full, you know, stock skates with the Razer Viper V3 Pro. So like I said, it's not too fast, but it's also not slow either, which obviously I don't think there is such a thing as slow glass pads unless you're using a really heavy controlled skates on it. But like I said, one thing I am interested in trying is I did order the TalonGames control skates, which they are like a solid black. They're not made of PTFE. They're made of like, I'm trying to remember the name exactly. It's like UMPH or something like that. A type of like hard, denser, more quiet material that's supposed to, you know, really slow your pad down. And I'm interested in trying that with this glass pad and also with, or even regular mouse pads, because I am looking for a more slow mouse pad. Because the only one I have, if you've seen recently in my videos, I have the ATK 99G, which is my only control pad. So I don't have much to compare it to in terms of control. But now let's talk about the brand. TalonGames is a company based out of Japan, I want to say, or actually not Japan. I want to say either Indonesia or I'm trying to remember. I don't want to put any misinformation, you know what I mean? But they're basically not based in America. And let's see, shipping. I bought these through Amazon, so there is no like there wasn't any type of wait like, you know, a month or 2 weeks or anything like that. I bought it on a Thursday night, and it got here today. So maybe like 3-day, 4-day wait, which ain't too bad. And mind you, that's with Prime, so I'm guessing, you know, I just live in an area where we don't have a Amazon warehouse near us, so I have to, you know, wait a little bit more, which is fine, you know what I mean? Let me see if I can pull up the actual picture of the TalonGames glass pad, because I want to show you guys that one. Now, while I'm doing this, the one thing I do admit that I like about this pad is that it's very affordable in my opinion. If you look at some of the higher end glass pads that are out there, they're looking at something that's like $100, $100 plus. Like I want to say maybe like, obviously on the more expensive end, you're gonna have like around close to 200s. Like you're gonna have the 180s, even the 120s. This thing was only $89.99. With taxes, it was like maybe like 92 something, which is very affordable in my opinion. Especially if you're like trying to get your like, kind of like questioning on pulling the trigger on actually getting a glass mouse pad. This is well within reasonable budget in my opinion. And it's not like you're getting anything terrible. It's not like as soon as you buy, you're just like, oh, this thing is trash. I wasted my money. Like, no, this thing feels amazing. One thing I will say right off the bat though, when I got it, is that if you look at the pictures they show on the TalonGames site, which let me pull it up real quick, just so I can show you guys. I'm pulling up the site right now, just so you know. But like I was saying, one thing that I will admit that kind of like threw me off a bit, but it wasn't like deal breaking. Let's see, I'm going over here. There we go. Was that if you look at the picture on here, everything looks so sharp and vibrant and real colorful. And then I just feel like that when you look at the mouse pad itself, and mind you, this isn't like my camera making it look that way. I felt the same way looking at it in person. It seems like less colorful, if that makes sense. Like it seems like certain blues, like right here around the flowers and stuff like that, like even on the, let me switch back over. Like right here in this area, even right here, like things like that, like if you see it right here, it's not as bright. And it's not as like colorful, if you will, not as sharp. And I will say, if you've ever seen a the wall hack SP004, the one I showed you guys, the twin pad, the one with Yumi on it and her sister or whatever, it has some type of like thing over it to where it makes it look blurry, if that makes sense. It's not nothing too crazy, like, oh man, that thing looks super blurry. Like you can still see the picture obviously, and it doesn't look too bad. But this has that same type of thing going on with it, to where like the coating they put on it makes it look a bit blurry. And now, like I said, it doesn't look too bad. And it's weird because when I put the water on it to clean it, it made it look super clear. So I'm guessing the coating that's on here is what makes it look like that. And like I said, I don't have any gripes with it. It's just something I wanted to say, you know, in case you're someone who sees the picture like this and you're just like, man, that thing looks so bright and vibrant and I love how it looks. I'm telling you now that when you get the mouse pad, like I said, it might not be too much of a deal breaker or like a difference to what I'm saying, but to me, it looked like less colorful, if that makes sense. But continuing, like I said, the price was $89.99, $92 with taxes, things like that. I already talked about the different skates. Like I said, obviously, less skate means less friction. So this can be, and one thing I can't stress enough in every video is that you can buy a glass mouse pad, but you got to understand that the skates that you use are probably 80 to 90% of like what the kind of skate it is has more to do with it than what the actual glass pad is itself. Because I can get my Super Glide V1, and like I said, to me that's like a balanced control pad-ish glass pad. But depending on the skates I use on there, whether it be like, I don't know, I want to say like 50% skates, 100% skates, or even like what, like 20% skates, depending on the one that you pick, drastically makes a difference to how fast the pad's gonna be. You know, that's just being honest with you. Now if I had to compare it to one, I would have to say it does compare to like the Pulsar Super Glide V1, but it's a bit more faster. It really is just a bit more. I even tested it with like using these on that one to kind of compare it, and that one is a bit slower, this one is a bit faster. So I will say this one is like a bit more of like I said, control balance pad, but a bit more on the balance side, so it's not too slow. I mean, like I said, even with the full skates on there, it still went pretty fast. Like obviously here, I mean, this is probably the most skates you can have on a mouse. Let me switch over real quick. This one right here, the Razer Viper V2 Pro, which has the stock skates on there, this is probably the most like mouse skates you can have on a mouse, aside from the mice that have like skates going all the way through. But even then, like it's not too bad. Like I'll put it here. See, like it still goes pretty good, you know? Like it's not like I use the stock skates on here and this thing is just like mud. Obviously no glass pad's gonna be mud depending on your skates, but you know, nothing too crazy, you know? Like it's not bad and nothing like that. Like to me, it's perfect for the value. Like I don't think I have anything negative to say about it. And like I said, the things I did say negative about it were like nitpicks of my own. I hate that it wasn't as bright as it looked in the picture, and I also hate that the bottom wasn't silicone. But like I said, this thing still grips, it's not gonna move, and the picture still looks great. So I'm just, like I said, it's just me nitpicking. But if I honestly had to push those things aside, this thing is perfect. If you're someone who's looking to get your first glass pad and you're just like kind of wondering where to go, if you order from a site, depending on the site or what shipping it offers, you might have to wait a week or two. If you're looking to get something on the cheaper side and something if you have Prime to get like 2 to 3 days maybe, definitely go with this one. And I'm trying to see if I can find the other glass pad because I want to show you guys that one. Because that one looks even cooler. If you're someone who doesn't like the whole anime girl, you know, aesthetic, you know, things like that, this other one looks a lot better. And I want to see if I can find it because it definitely looks better. Let's see, TalonGames Glasspad. Yeah, because for some odd reason, they don't have it on their site, but they have it on Amazon, which is so weird. Let's see, hold on. Here, let me just go straight to Amazon then. Yeah, it's a really weird thing they got going on. I don't know why they're doing that. And I could even show you on here, you know. Here, look. Let's see, TalonGames Glasspad. And literally the first one that comes up is that one that I'm talking about. Now, I can switch over and show you guys real quick. Now when I switch over, this is the pad I'm talking about. This one right here is what it looks like. As you can see, this is the glass pad. It also has the person that they collabed with to get it, which I think is cool. I think that one looks amazing. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you're someone who doesn't like like I said, the anime girl aesthetic and things like that, you could definitely go with that one. That one looks really cool in my opinion. If I honestly could like also get that one, I will, because I think it just looks amazing. And I'm assuming that the coating on this, the underside to this, looks exactly like that one. I can assume, like I said, I don't know yet. I haven't gotten it. I haven't even seen a review of it. By the way, which is another crazy thing. When I looked up the reviews for this glass mouse pad, I didn't see anyone post about it. I only saw TalonGames do a review about it, and obviously it was like, it had music playing over it. It was in like Japanese or something like that. And so you just they just unboxed it, showed you what was in the box, and the video ended, and that was it. So I kind of really wanted to do at least a more in-depth review of this. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is that when it comes to like stickiness on your skin, this thing is literally non-sticky. I only wear a sleeve now because it's kind of like, it's like a force of habit at this point. But I can go without it, like even with this one right here. Like, I have no issues moving my, moving my hand or wrist or anything sticking to the it does not whatsoever. And mind you, this is also me where I live. It's hot. If it's not hot, it's either humid or it's one of the two. It's never cold that often. So even right now where I'm in my room, it's not cold. I would say it's like normal. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just normal. But yeah, as you can see, like I have no issues, moving my arm up and down, back and forth. And mind you, my arm is touching this. I don't want you to think I'm lifting it up, but so there's no issue. So if it doesn't stick to your skin, then obviously this one right here with an arm sleeve is not going to be an issue either. It's moving just fine. So there's that, which is a huge selling point, because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of my glass pads, they do stick to your arm. Like whether it's, obviously when it's hot, they're going to stick. Sometimes when it's cold, they might not as much, but most of them still do stick. So if you're one of those people who wants to try a glass pad but hates the idea of wearing an arm sleeve, you don't have that worry with this one. This is honestly a really good glass pad. But yeah, would I recommend it? Yes, actually. I give it 10 out of 10 zombies. And that means I highly recommend getting this. This thing's even cheaper than some of the more budget glass pads. I've seen like even High Star has a glass pad that's like $109. This one, I understand it's just around 20 bucks, but that kind of blows that out of the water too. Or excuse me, like 15, 10 bucks around there. But yeah, I haven't tried that High Star one. It might be faster than this, might be slower than this, I'm not sure. But all I know is if you get this one, in my opinion, unless you're like really, really nitpicking, you won't be disappointed. This thing's really, really good. Mind you, like I said, TalonGames didn't send this to me. I bought it myself, so even if they did send it to me, everything I'm telling you is 100% my opinion, and I'm not going to recommend y'all something that I wouldn't recommend to myself, and I'm also not going to lie just to, upsell something or whatever. Everything I say to you guys is always going to be 100% the truth, because I would want it that way. I would hate for someone to, you know, try to sell me something just to sell it to me instead of it being good like I don't want it to be, you know? I will never recommend something or say you guys should get something if I wouldn't get it or use it myself. I can honestly see this thing sitting on top of my desk for quite a few weeks to, you know, a few months. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. If you have any comments or want to know anything, or, you know, anything to talk about, say whatever, go ahead and, you know, drop them down below. But as per usual, if you watch the video, I appreciate hanging out with me. And if you see the kind of content I make and you feel like it's made, you know, something you can relate to or something you want to see more of, go ahead and subscribe. If not, you know what I mean, don't waste your time, don't waste my time, and don't, you know, you don't gotta subscribe if you don't want to. I appreciate you looking. But as per usual, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.